with EDG. Were all those extra losses that EDG took during the regular season really worth it? Or did NIP get more value for less time? We're about to learn that as we head into the first game, into the first draft, with NIP having banned away the lock that you already mentioned is going to be pretty highly contested in the mid lane. Notably, Olaf and Vi, all junglers even, with the Nocturne, going to be taken away by EDG.
And straight in with the Cassiopeia lock-in right here for NIP, another one of those mid laners we talked about being pretty high priority. The response out of EDG straight up grabbing their bot lane, and we are sprinting through this draft. Both teams clearly knowing what they want, and we're getting some very classic bot lane pairings coming through right here.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I like the way that we've started this. I mean, let's keep this momentum up going into the second half. Ashe Seraphine for NIP, strong bot lane, but EDG already really strong bot lane themselves in a very different way. Ezreal Karma are going to have a good time. This is... as I was saying just yesterday to a friend of mine, as I was complaining about bot lane, I was like, there are either matchups that you die on cooldown, and there are matchups that you AFK. This is a matchup that you AFK. Ezreal Karma, you're not interacting with this lane. Ashe Seraphine, you're not interacting with this lane. See you in team fights.
Hey, I mean, because both of these are the sorts of lanes that you kind of want to just sit back from, I do wonder if we're going to get a bit of explosivity right here. I mean, Leave and Parukia, when they've been playing well, have been in really fun spots in the couple of wins they've gotten, but Photic and Fengyue are just taking it to their opponents. They love a scrap, they love to get aggressive as possible. Kind of depends what we're going to see out of the jungle. Obviously, we know that it's going to be the Pantheon for EDG, some pretty heavy ganking if you do want it. I do also wonder how much roaming we're going to get. Obviously, Parukia can get out of this lane with the Karma, go try and get involved in other ones, and the Ezreal should be safe enough. Ashe, Seraphine, pretty miserable to deal with. You get hit by an auto attack and things can begin to go wrong. Let's see what the bans are going to be coming through as well. Obviously, with the Cassiopeia already locked in, you want to take a couple of the big counters away from this one. The Syndra is just strong in general at the moment. It's not necessarily the best lane matchup into the Cassiopeia, but I can understand getting rid of that one.
Akali's still up. Something that we should be considering around a variety of lanes. Fortunately, with bot lane locked in, we're not just going to be slamming an Akali there and running down your opponents, but Akali exceptionally strong in this split on this patch, and definitely something that we could see going either mid lane or top lane. I also am really heartened by seeing the Pantheon brought in by EDG. I know that we banned almost every viable jungler on the patch, so getting to pick up the Pantheon, I think, can do EDG a lot of good. EDG has been really explosive on the Pantheon. He has had a game that, even as a picky person with Pantheon games I've gone, that was a good Pantheon game. So if he can do that again this series, even better. Akali Banj.
And Anivia coming on in right here as the response. Pretty neutral matchup. I mean, if you get hit with that Noxious Blast, you can get run down a little bit, so do need to be a bit careful. Overall, EDG got themselves a composition that really spikes hard on that first item, going to be looking to take it to NIP. NIP, on the other hand, they've got some real nice team fighting that they can be playing around right here. The Gnar going to be locked in. Still need to pick themselves up their jungler, and, I mean, you've left your jungle really late right here for Guwon. See what the final pickup right here is going to be. Cho'Gath. Okay, Cho'Gath jungle.
We're pogging.
Cho'Gath jungle right here. Now, I saw a Cho'Gath top lane very recently, which was the first Cho'Gath that we had seen in that league, the first Cho'Gath I'd seen in a while. This champion kind of beginning to get in on the rise at the moment. I haven't seen it jungle recently, though.
This is kind of blowing my mind right now, because I know that we are getting Cho'Gath buffs next patch that are very exciting. Perhaps this is coming from a preparation perspective, NIP thinking that they're just going to make it straight through, but that Varus is going to make things complicated. Varus top lane innovated. Two splits ago, Varus top lane became a really big deal. And EDG are going to whip that out against NIP now to deconstruct this top lane, even top side tank focus.
Indeed, and I really do like this Varus. I think it's a great little pickup right here into the Gnar. It's pretty fun as well. Obviously, the Cho'Gath, something that you want to be staying away from as much as possible. Gives you some more non-committal CC as well. Yep. Still, this team is very tank deficit. You are super squishy overall, and that could be a pretty big problem, especially playing into the Cho'Gath, into the Gnar. If NIP get ahead in any way, shape, or form, they are just going to be so incredibly tanky. It's going to make stepping up into these objective fights that much easier to play around. Overall, I do prefer what NIP have been able to draw for themselves, but there's some real fun out of this EDG composition.
I mean, this is the perfect time, because I was just thinking I really like the EDG draft. I know that it keeps everybody at arm's length, and the composition quite good to do that. I think that there is a lot of onus here. There is the chance to hard carry this game for Bulldog. Anivia is an insane champion, especially when it comes to keeping other people away from you. EDG have a composition that basically says, you're not going to touch me until I decide that you die. And NIP's ability to answer that really only, to me, looks like it comes from the top lane. Looks like it comes from Hoya. Pretty big challenge ahead of them. Can they rise to meet it in this first game of the best of 5?
Oh, hang on. Gonna wait for the gyros, but actually we're just gonna get some immediate aggression down on the bottom side of the map. Parukia taking a big chunk of damage right here. Should have to go back to base instantly. That's gonna give all of that lane priority over to NIP.
Fans unaffected. They knew. They were looking at that going, no, Parukia lives here. Heal expended. So a small win for the NIP bot lane. Gonna get a little bigger as Parukia makes his way back into the lane, but jungler starting on opposite sides of the map is really the focus for us right now and for our observers, as Guwon on the Cho'Gath is going to be giving us a different look at the jungle. Very excited to see what they looked for in this pick, why Guwon has ended up going Hail of Blades Cho'Gath.
Yeah, so that is the standard at the moment. Hail of Blades Cho'Gath is exactly the standard. It's kind of a AP and full tank hybrid that people have been going towards, right? A lot of the time they're grabbing things like the Proto Belt for themselves, maybe even grabbing a Rift Maker to really just be taking it to your opponents, plus some tanky items to make sure that you're still able to do that job for your team as well. It'll be interesting to see just how much the ganking is going to be coming on through. Obviously, the Rupture is a pretty decent gank tool, as is being able to silence your opponents, but moving down towards the bottom side of the map, that's where you should have a lot of lane pressure, especially after you expended some time to get Parukia to base early on. And that means that you're unlikely to get early ganks through, instead more just power farming, I would be imagining.
The LPL just giving us a taste of some of the stats early on. We know EDG lost. We know the split was terrible for them. They have the chance to reverse some of those stats now, which will be nice, as bot lane pretty hard winning early on. Ashe Seraphine just a lot more difficult to duel, especially when they have wave push. And Ezreal not hitting first item yet. Bulldog not going to be egged, but he's close.
And this is the thing, right? As I was saying, you get hit by that Noxious Blast, all of a sudden just getting run straight down by those Twin Fangs. Leveling up to 4 will help a little bit, at least, to stop Care from keeping running him down. And the resets do come on through. As we were talking about, right, the first item spikes that are coming through for EDG are really strong. Obviously, once you get that first item onto the Ezreal, that's great. JJ gonna need that first item to really be able to compete in a lot of these scenarios. And so once we get those level 6s ticked, and then those first items coming through, that's where I want to see EDG really push the pace of this game forwards as much as possible. For NIP, I think they can play this one out just a little bit slower, some decent scaling options on them. As you said though, the arm's length approach that EDG are going to be having means that NIP can't afford to begin to fall behind, or they will just never have the opportunities to close those distances.
Yeah, I mean, especially around the, I want to say, first 2 dragons, I could see EDG taking a pretty significant lead with their composition, leave Arcane Shift forward, but NIP did spot Xiaohao in the area earlier with a hawk shot, so they are going to be playing safe, respectful, and let EDG take control of this wave.
And things early on in this game, pretty standard as we were expecting, right, with those first clears starting on opposite sides of the map. The junglers going to continue to mirror each other through these clears. They can kind of just power farm their ways up to level 6. Let's take a check-in with the top lane. Like I said, really fun matchup right here where the Varus, the poke that can come through, is just disgusting. And you can see already big damage onto Hoya, although he's doing his own.
Flash from Gigi!
Really?
Photic underneath the tower gets the shield, gets it broken, and EDG pick up first blood. Gigi gonna trade one back. The second tower shot almost takes him down, but EDG trade 2 for 1 4 minutes in.
I didn't think he was just going to flash straight over that wall. Clearly not going to be the case. The fact that you get a kill back right there at least is nice, but Fengyue going to be the one picking that up, whereas that's 2 quick kills here for JJ. And if we were talking about him getting this game going, looking to get himself towards that first item, that's a really nice start.
I mean, this is it's got to be a proud dad moment for Alk right now, having pitched Xiaohao earlier as being an underrated jungler for EDG, and now watching that happen, even I am like, again, picky about Pantheon play. I liked that.
Yeah.
Xiaohao played that gank like an animal in the best way.
Absolutely, and I really do like it when we see Pantheons gank pre-level 6. Get going, your champion does so much damage early on. Even if you don't have that much to be helped out from your laners, you're still going to be in a good spot, and obviously between the Karma and the Ezreal, plenty of damage that you can be laying down as they go in again.
We're fighting again. Fengyue quite low, but Leave's going to get locked up. Photic gets a lot of free time with the AD carry, and ultimately both of these teams, both of these bot laners, I should say, will walk away a little bit worse for wear. Fengyue's health, however, traded for Leaves. Fengyue can afford to throw his away a little bit more on the Seraphine.
And I mean, really rough in that trade right there out of EDG, not recognizing the fact that with the lethal tempo stacking up, if you have these trades go long, Photic is going to be in a really good spot to be able to turn them back around. And obviously with all the slows that come through between this Ashe Seraphine combo, if you get slowed up a little bit too much, allow this fight to go a little bit too long, they are going to get chunked out for this EDG bot lane. They really need these trades to be snappier. Big chunk of damage, jump away, let things reset, do it again, do it again, do it again.
The mid lane has been pretty chill for everyone so far. Everybody comfortable to just continue scaling up, but I like the way that Bulldog is playing right now. Has gone for a couple of nice combination trades using the Crystallize. His most important cooldown this game by far. I had mentioned earlier how Bulldog has the chance to hard carry this game with the Anivia. Xiaohao has the polar opposite game plan. If Xiaohao is committing with his face, man, it's going to be amazing. He and Bulldog do need to be on the same page, and right now, Bulldog is doing a great job in the mid lane of making Anivia look like a champion that can follow up and take you out before you have a chance to get out of Panth stun.
It's going to be really interesting to see once we get to our first couple of skirmishes. Obviously, the first Drake already going over to NIP, but we'll have some grubs to be competing for soon. And JJ having his base come through already. Level 6s ticked as well for both of these junglers. Obviously, going to be really important to get these stacks up as quickly as possible out of Guwon. He's already nommed away, I think he nommed away the Drake, it would have been, so making sure he's able to, you know, keep as many of these minion stacks around as possible. We'll be interested to see what that first Grand Starfall is going to be doing. Could use it here into the mid lane if you want to get hyphy with Bulldog, as you've been saying.
And with almost everyone level 6 now, we've got some opportunity for fun in the bot lane a little bit later on. Big Seraphine enjoyer as well, and Fengyue can definitely turn a lot of these engagements with a nice use of the Encore. Oh, it's the interaction you talked about. Bulldog is getting run down a little bit. Doesn't seem to have the wall easily available. Takes about half his HP.
Indeed he does, and with that push coming through in the top lane, JJ just going to be able to start himself up these grubs. Oh, hang on, bot lane's trying to get aggressive once again. Tether not going to land. Arrow does.
Photic baits out the Arcane Shift, but ends up arrowing onto Parukia. Leaves low as well. Guwon's in the area. He could just flash forward. He could nom down on somebody. And picking up some nice Xiao in the bot lane. Guwon pulls off a successful gank.
There we go, the response to the grubs in the top side, gank over in the bottom lane, and this has been a really fun matchup. As I said, right, these bot lanes both usually stop any interaction from happening, but when you pair them up together, it means both are looking to fight as much as possible. And in this one, Leaf was hitting really hard. I mean, with the Sheen already doing plenty for his team, but wasn't quite able to recognize that Guwon was on the way in. I love it. Flash forwards, silence everybody, make sure nobody's going to be able to get away from this gank. And getting another stack on through. This Cho'Gath already rolling right here. That's an early Heartsteel being completed. Just 9 minutes into the game. There's going to be a big boy later on.
Yeah, that is going to be quite tanky to deal with. EDG, for all that their composition I like on paper, their tank killing, especially early on in the game, not exactly the thing that you'd look to this comp for. Varus perhaps an exception, but ZDC has been chilling. We have barely talked about topside.
Look at the CS gap top lane. I've been watching it slowly grow throughout this game, right? Already at about 30. It's a pretty huge gap to be trying to deal with. The pressure that ZDZ's been able to put down as well has been a big part of why you're able to grab a couple of these objectives over on the top side of the map out of EDG as well. And let's see what the next bit of fighting is going to be, right? 40 seconds until the next Drake will spawn. And right now, NIP with push in the mid lane could have a bit of control over this objective, although bot lane as well. EDG, as much as they got killed in that earlier gank, still playing quite aggressive.
CDZ gets to zone Hoya off this wave as well.
It's
collect the majority of it,
for
but
Hoya.
I am really wondering how much this is going to matter. Because I know that, again, Quax was talking about up Hoya earlier on Twitter. I don't think that setting Gnar behind is hugely impactful. However, Varus getting ahead is. And
Yes.
ZDZ, if he's able to blow some people up around mid-game fights, around, say, the next couple of dragons, we could see this game very quickly turn, as it might right now. NIP don't look to be giving up this dragon. Instead, maybe just giving up their mid laner's life, but a nice splash from Care gets him out.
Oh.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow goes for the
Okay,
gold, but Fengyue is going to flash forward for the Encore, punishing Xiaohao as he runs out of the protection his shield afforded him. Guwon, low, and not nearly tanky enough, gets taken down by Leave. EDG have evened things up, and even without a jungler, it looks like they're winning this fight.
I mean, they keep pushing on forwards right here. You can see Leave just doing so much damage. It's actually top lane. Okay, ZDZ's gonna win that fight. We need to have a replay of what happened topside.
That's a lot of damage out of ZDC as well. I swear he was dead on Hoya's screen, and then all of a sudden that screen was gray.
Indeed it was. And I mean, we'll take stock of what just happened, right? Nobody actually gonna pick up the Drake in the end. Have a look at what happened.
Oh my god, the Ash
the
arrow
Enchanted
hit
Crystal
him.
Arrow. It was not designed for him at all.
That's
It was not
low-key
designed for
tilting.
him in any way. But it mates Hoya into thinking, oh, that's devastating. Oh, okay,
Grand
Care.
Starfall in the mid lane. Care, that was a beautifully timed Petrifying Gaze. See if it ends up saving him, as Fengyue here again to try and turn the fight. Xiaohao low once more, and though he is aggressive, he be squishy. Xiaohao dying twice in as many minutes. Still the dragon up for NIP as well, and the return to the fight ends up going quite nicely for them.
And I mean, every single time we've seen one of these aggressive plays coming on through, there's some level of turnaround play coming on. EDG are looking to just give this one up, stepping forwards.
Another one.
Lands.
Hoya gets a lot of free time with this. Egged up and good to go. Bulldog
Does he have
gonna
the
take a
damage?
beating, and I think he gets out of this. Doesn't get stunned to the
No.
wall, and I
There
spoke
we
too
go.
soon. The damage enough from Hoya to beat the ever-living daylights out of him.
Absolutely, there we go. As we've been talking about, right, the Gnar getting put behind, not necessarily the end of the world. ZDZ getting ahead could well be massively important. Now got about 40 CS gap over his opponent. Ton of turret plates as well gone into him. And you can see right here, yeah, looking pretty good so far in this game. Off the back of all of this craziness, 2 Drakes to NIP and about a 1k gold lead over to EDG alongside the grubs that they were able to grab earlier. Next big objective to be fighting around will be the Rift Herald. And it'll be interesting to see if both teams bring the full cavalry in. They've been very willing to fight so far in this game.
I'd anticipate that NIP should be down to fight. I think it depends where Photic's items are at. Leave has been exceptionally strong, with Trinity Force completed as well. Ezreal is terrifying in this game. And where Ezreal goes, you should win. Currently heading out of base. Leave is going to decide where that is for the EDG roster.
Indeed, and as we were talking about, right, those first items going to be really important, as a couple of these big ones have been hit. Obviously, both mid laners, Rod of Ages, those will be particularly useful later on in the game. But for right now, the ADC's going to be hitting pretty hard. Leave, though, already was hitting like a truck before he ended up getting that first item. And I've got a replay here of what happened with the Drake.
No. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't know if my
he
mic
hit
does.
that. Yeah, I mean, fun to get a little bit of replay of that one through. 3 stacks already for Guwon, so he's, as we've been talking about, getting there. Although, obviously, as we saw in one of those previous fights, not quite tanky enough yet. Give him another 10 minutes or so, and this Cho'Gath is going to be terrifying.
CDZ gets
God.
hit by another arrow, my brother. He doesn't get to play the game. Ow!
Nom once again right there. Guwon going to get his 4th stack of the game. Hoya as well, picking himself up this tower, and this is the problem that we have seen out of EDG. As much as they've had a few good moments, their side laners fall behind, don't necessarily get themselves into great spots overall, and ZDZ, I don't know if it's...
Is that really him, though? I mean, we all saw that. Photic is doing that, right?
That Photic is an absolute sniper right now, but he didn't even mean to hit that first one, and it resulted in a kill for ZDZ, so I'm not sure that I'm fully counting that one. This one, you got to be more aware, right? The Ashe is on the map, you know that's going to be coming on through. The fact he's been hit by so many of them at this point, it's not the hardest skill to be dodging.
Making those crystalline arrows look a little bit more magnetic than their icy nature would have you believe. They've grabbed the first tower for the mid lane towers to fall, I should say. And with that, EDG, I want to say take a lead, but they just don't. I mean, EDG, they're ahead, sure, but is this a convincing game in either direction by any means? No. Both these teams playing pretty even right now, and that's where we start thinking about what you had said earlier about the fact that NIP are very happy for this game to go late. NIP have 2 dragons right now, and EDG, well, I don't hate their ability to scale later on in this game. I would be coping if I said that it was on par with a Cassiopeia Cho'Gath.
Exactly. NIP have way more, as the arrow finally going to miss. Photic has turned the aimbot off right now.
It's turning around on ZDZ!
I mean, that would be hilarious if ZDT managed to get tagged by it just walking through the jungle. Not even a part of that play. Not quite going to happen, although he might be getting caught right here.
That guy's dead. ZDZ does not get knocked up.
How do you miss that rupture right there?
I mean, how many games of Cho'Gath has Guwon really played, you know?
That's true, that's true. This is the first Cho'Gath that we are seeing in the LPL this entire split, so you're going to expect a little bit less, at least stage practice, although I'm sure plenty on the behind the scenes. Still, I think even if you land that rupture, it might be a little bit tough to be able to pick up that kill because Parukia is in the area, as we do see Care jumping in real deep here with a teleport. Not going to get anything done with it particularly. Scrapping for position around this Drake though. Soul point for NIP. They definitely want to pick this one up.
Enchanter Crystal Arrow going to be off cooldown in 40 seconds or so. So EDG playing very carefully right now. Do you have to worry about how exactly they coordinate? One of the things we noted earlier was that this composition loves to keep you at arm's length. Xiaohao has been on the opposite end of that. Xiaohao has been committing, and he's been, in large part, committing alone. EDG don't seem to have the damage, the timing, whatever it may be to back him up, but now the decision is to fight, walking over the miasma even to do it. Bulldog and Leave, the 2 focal points of the EDG roster, put themselves at risk, but do not end up going down. It is a 3rd dragon over to NIP pretty darn easily.
Indeed, and they're going to go try make a mid lane play happen as EDG. They teleported ZDZ up from the bot lane to try make this play, try to fight around the Drake potentially. Obviously, we're not able to do so, and I don't think they're even going to get this tier 2 tower.
Arrows up. Photic can just toss one of these out.
Guwon, but at this point, he is really tanky, right? 74 stacks on his Heartsteel, getting through to level 11 as well. I'm just not going to be able to pick anything up. Yeah, as we've been saying, right, EDG, the onus is on them to accelerate the pace of this game, and NIP are really just having the pick of the litter when it comes to the objectives.
Fengyue is just in EDG's jungle right now. Having seen Xiaohao up top lane, he and Care know that they've got all the time in the world. Care going to pick up a few plates here and get to back away. Top lane tower still left standing, as the advantage for EDG might not be big, but it does manifest itself largely around this mid lane tower that we really haven't seen NIP contest. The objectives have been going NIP's way. The game even seems to be going their way with the fact that these dragons are going in their favor, and they have a lot of scaling, but the mid lane tower has to go down at some point, and right now, it being up for EDG is giving them so much more ability to fight back against an NIP roster that would otherwise be in control of this game.
Oh, Death Brush, Parukia.
Oh my god, I thought the Enchanted Crystal Arrow was gonna hit.
Well,
oh my god.
It would have if he hadn't have taken that blast cone. If he take that blast cone, obviously he takes himself straight to his demise once again. And you're talking about this mid lane tower. It's going to take a decent chunk of damage right here as well. Photic was just able to complete his second item, 2 Phantom Dancer coming on in, so he's beginning to rock and roll. As we've been talking about, NIP, they have control of this game with these 3 Drakes, with the late game scaling options that they have, and certainly not helping when Parukia launches himself straight to his demise.
No, that was tough, and for all the mid lane tower giving them control and all that, EDG, it's a pretty close brush to the mid lane. Did not have any vision on it as predicted by the NIP lads. Baron's up. It's 20 minutes into the game, 2 minutes-ish left until this dragon.
And we'll see what the next big play out of EDG is, because I think they need to make one happen before this objective, right? I don't think you can just wait another 2 minutes. That's 2 minutes more in which you're getting that stacking coming on through. Right now, a little bit of a knockup going to land on the Bulldog, although he should be able to turn tail and run. JJ going in.
I'm on the same page as I was earlier here. Bulldog has a huge opportunity right now, and by actually getting hit and insta-cleansed, NIP have just lost one. They're engaged, not going to connect twice as both the arrow and the encore go wide, and EDG decide this is their moment. Having isolated Hoya in the pit, he should be able to get out pretty easily on the Gnar, and NIP not going to lose anybody just yet. Both those engagement tools whiffing, though, does leave them a bit hands empty around their own jungle even.
Absolutely. I mean, they've still got all of the sort of mid-range teamfight ultis available, but the long-range engages that they would have wanted are going to go down. And with 1 minute and 30 seconds until the Drake, you're at least in good time for NIP to be able to take some resets, head back out onto the map. I did wonder if EDG potentially could have turned around and just tried for the Baron right there. It would have definitely been risky, but you've got a double ADC, you've got an Anivia. It's not the slowest Baron take in the world.
Yeah.
Instead, they're just going to trade their positioning for that mid lane tier 2 tower, open the map up that much further for themselves, and now with the mid lane tier 2 down, with your opponents not having taken any mid lane towers at all, that does make this push around mid that much easier to be able to get control of and keep control of.
A lot of this looking better for EDG now that Bulldog has picked up Malignance as well. That was a lacking item in the last fight. Teleport down to the bot lane for Care right now, even as we're seeing all this action in mid. NIP really wanted to put some pressure in the bottom half of the map, even expending a global cooldown with the Baron up to do so.
Indeed, and you can see the poke coming through from this composition out of EDG. NIP going into this fight low.
They want to kill Xiaohao. They're going to
They're
kill
going to get him, surely. Oh, Guwon dies instead.
But lives, and Guwon, in fact, dies, stepping up a bit too far on the Cho'Gath. ZDZ's chasing down Care, but that's a jungler down on one side, the jungler up on the other. EDG should be getting their first dragon of the game.
And the fact that they're able to fight these NIP members off, and this is what you highlighted, this is what you talked about liking out of this EDG composition earlier, dear. It's all of this range, this keeping your opponents at bay, making sure they can't jump in. Bulldog really accurate with the wall right there to make sure there wasn't enough follow-up to be able to actually kill this Pantheon. And you can see out of Care, I like the idea, right? Just Petrifying Gaze straight on into him. But everybody just gets sort of held back, not quite able to step up close enough in this fight. Then the wall to cut off a couple retreating members. Maybe could have brought Fengyue onto the other side and found the play. This is a little bit worrying if you're an NIP fan, right? The gold lead is still not majorly significant, but 2K is beginning to become relevant right here. And with them stacking, snapping that Drake stacking as well, EDG beginning to make these fights work.
And while you mentioned the gold lead, the thing that should worry more NIP fans is that fight looked like it should for EDG. It didn't look like Xiaohao going in and dying alone. It even started with Xiaohao getting caught, but when that happened, EDG really knew how to navigate this composition that is so good at not letting you touch them. I mean, Jeje gets hit by only Care in that fight. Guwon can't walk up to him. Hoya's not in the front line to actually make any follow-up happen. There's a lot of good that this NIP roster can do, but into the EDG composition, you can only do so much when it's played well. Oh, he's dead.
Okay, goodbye.
He's alive?
To leave. Nah, he's dead.
He's dead.
Wait, no.
He's alive?
The encore misses, and he's going to be able to walk this one back out. Another arrow lands.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands onto Jeje. ZDZ's now getting chased down. Leave. Gotta throw some cooldowns over the wall to help him out, but that is not going to do enough. Leave gets taken out. Bulldog the next up, and he's egged once again. Jeje takes to the front lines to try and defend him, but now he may very well be cooked. Hoya almost takes down Leave, who is still alive, by the way. Gets the fight started on him, but while he ultimately survives, the rest of EDG almost all die. NIP going to start up this Baron as well. Guwon no ult to pick it up, but I don't think they'll mind. NIP first Baron of the game off of a great pick find from Hoya.
And Leave. If there's one thing he's known for at this point, it's mispositioning errors. Now, this is a really great catch coming through out of Hoya. The fact that the encore misses is really unfortunate. It looks on my screen right here like it should have clipped him, but instead, just about going to be able to get back away. But like you said, ZDZ, he puts himself in harm's way up on the top side of the map. Fine enough when you're playing yourself a bit more of a skirmish-heavy traditional top laner, not fine on one of the ADCs, and a really nice petrifying gaze as well here. Otherwise, this could potentially have been a turnaround. We see how much damage EDG's composition can lay back in, but they get caught up in all of the CC and win themselves this fight.
I mean, there are so many coulda, woulda, shouldas in that engagement because we get almost the picture-perfect back-to-back replays of NIP when they're able to play their composition, and EDG when they're able to play their composition, and EDG when they're not able to play their composition. When Bulldog isn't able to kite back, and when something is happening up top lane, Care is going to walk out of this one. I'd be throwing a couple question mark pings out.
I mean, that's quite a lot committed to try to get Care whilst you're losing your mid lane tier 2 tower. The Baron push obviously pretty strong at the moment, although looks like things are going to, fizzle out. I mean, Fengyue has not been accurate whatsoever with these encores. Not going to matter in the end, I don't think. Still going to be able to pick this tower up regardless, but do need to be a little bit careful with these. I mean, this is a big teamfight tool that's been going wide quite often in these fights.
Yeah. Photic's arrow, though, solved a lot of problems in the early game. Has actually continued to do a lot of work. Connecting onto Xiaohao in the last fight.
It's been really, really big right here. And I mean, anytime you see an Ashe, an absolute sniper with those crystal arrows, it does spell good things for the team. Obviously, it's not just been that, though. He's hitting like an absolute truck at this point. 3 items completed. Got himself some anti-heal as well. Make sure that Parukia is not going to be able to do his thing quite so much. Looks like we're going to get a fight right here. Both teams kind of just jockeying position around this mid lane.
Guwon's still very threatening in the front line as well. Tanky with a lot of damage to boot for NIP, and that is the real threat off of their CC. Speaking of CC, a little bit gets thrown out at Care, but Proto Belt to dodge it does help him out. Photic flashing over the walls, EDZ going golden in the front lines, but he is surely getting chewed through by Guwon as Photic is going to be the one to pick up the kill. Jeje trying to finish off Photic now is completely alone in the backline of NIP. Hostile territory for the EDG jungler, and as Photic will fall, it'll be Bulldog and Leave left up. Bulldog wrong side of the map, and not much that he can do as NIP are charging down the mid lane. NIP look like they're gonna take some of this, most of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to quite close out the entirety of this game right now. You've still got plenty of wave clear available between Bulldog and Leave, but this mid lane inhibitor will certainly fall, and you can peel back right here. Go pick yourself up Soul for NIP, and they have well and truly taken control of this game. I like this composition coming into this one, and I think they've played this game out not completely cleanly, obviously. Couple big fights for EDG, but they played it slow. They didn't overpush during the early game and fall behind when they weren't strong. And now that their composition has come online, they are running the Rift.
You remember when we said earlier that the mid laners could sort of fade into the background? I think Kara's done great Charon Cassiopeia has been doing not just his job, but in this moment, even more.
Yeah. Really nice right there that he's able to step back away. If he gets caught by those chains of corruption, everything can go wrong. Instead, watch his positioning through this fight. Flashing force isn't able to actually stun anybody up, of course, with that ulti, but still doing plenty of work, plenty of damage. And then here, he's also just Twin Fangs running Parukia right down, picking up another kill for his team. Like you're saying, these mid laners haven't really disappeared at all in this one. Bulldog as well has been pretty useful for the squad. Care just playing that little bit better. And unfortunately for EDG, this is a position they found themselves in a lot throughout this split. Down by about 5,000 gold, down a soul as well, desperately trying to cling on to the game. Now, they do have plenty of wave clear, so it's going to be tough for NIP to close this game out, having not had the Baron in inventory, but that's only a minute and a half away, and they should be able to pick that one up pretty easily.
Gold lead for NIP is problematic if you are an EDG fan, because a composition that does want to keep you at arm's length also needs a mechanism through which to do damage. And NIP have a front line that is very willing to absorb a lot of damage. And EDG don't have a whole lot of ways of actually making any of this stick, especially through Fengyue on Seraphine, who's able to provide a lot of healing through poke. The composition, as you highlighted, for NIP just seems to be outscaling that of EDG in a pretty big way, and there are not a whole lot of plays that can turn that around. EDG would love to find picks, of course, but it's not what their composition is good at.
Just dead.
It's what Photic is good at.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this is kind of what I'm expecting coming through right here, is the slow's going to hit ZDZ running for his life. Don't think he's going to be able to get back away with this one.
Flash forward from ZDZ, and he kills Care. Now turning around on Photic, he gets one auto off before he ultimately dies, and a flash forward from Xiaohao will secure his death, but he takes Hoya with him. So 4 for 2 in the favor of NIP, and Bulldog gets to walk right back to base as the Baron goes down again to NIP.
Hey, I mean, ZDZ getting something done right there, but it's so unfortunate that we're still saying this about Leaf. Remember, Leaf was on NIP pretty much all of 2025. And something we just kept coming back to, even when he was playing well, is he just has mispositioning errors all the dang time. Now, it's made less egregious, of course, when he's playing something like the Ezreal, able to jump away, get himself back to safety that little bit easier, but you see it time and time again, right? Just getting caught out, usually has one of the higher deaths of any of the ADCs that we end up seeing. Obviously, had a lot of deaths on EDG this split, but that's not necessarily fair with how much they have been struggling as an overall team. But if they want to get themselves into the playoffs, if they don't want to get eliminated here and potentially knock down to Group Nirvana once again, Leave has to get these mispositioning errors under control.
In this game, that's going to be a difficult thing to do. There's a lot of run you down on NIP, and EDG, compositionally and just in their play, have not really been able to deal with that. Even now, Leave just gets to throw all of his damage into Guwon, and Guwon is fine.
Yeah, he is incredibly tanky at this point in the game, because he's just constantly throwing out those ruptures, seeing what he can find. Right now, the base defense as desperate as possible. Obviously, as we were saying, right, plenty of wave clear, so it is tough to be able to push through all of these lanes. Right now, they're going to have a little bit of a split map coming through. Care heading down to the bot lane to be able to push this wave through, looking to crack open all of these towers. Another thing is, right, you've only got a couple minutes now until we've got the Elder, and that could be potentially what NIP need to really get themselves over the line and send us into game number 2.
You're doing a great job on Gnar right now. Staying in the area and staying very close to Mega when his team is pushed up. Definitely impressing. But the majority of this game for NIP does just come down to preparing for the last team fight for EDG. That's not to say that EDG cannot turn this around, but it would take one big explosive team fight. And NIP don't have to play to win, they just have to play to counter that.
Indeed, indeed, and EDG's composition, right, it's at its absolute best when it's stepping up to the opponents, poking them out, able to play off of range, and they just haven't been afforded that so far. NIP have done a really good job of starting these fights up, not in a straight-up situation, you know, finding these flanks, finding interesting picks to be able to kick things off, and now it's forcing EDG to just step to them and desperately try to find a way back in. They have plenty of damage between this top and bot lane. They just have to be close enough to be able to actually land it whilst keeping away from this very big, very angry Cho'Gath.
Well, he's got teleport. Should it become relevant in, I don't know, the next 20 seconds or so? Elder Dragon coming up. And NIP and EDG both cannot afford to make a misstep. That, however, is a big one as Parukia gets hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Bulldog up next, and while Xiaohao tries to buy as much time for his team as possible on this Pantheon, ultimately he goes into the wood chipper that is NIP right now. Even ZDZ will get picked up in the end. NIP do not lose a single member in the endgame fight, and it is all about Guwon for our observers in the close-up on this massive Cho'Gath. Unable to chew through him, unable to chew through anybody from NIP. EDG will go quietly in game number 1.
And this is a mega performance right here out of NIP, playing their composition to perfection, not over-pushing in the early game, recognizing the point at which they are strong, and playing these team fights out incredibly well. So far, Group Nirvana up 1-0 over Ascent.
That was spooky. That was real spooky. NIP didn't even make that look particularly hard, and this was off of some good early game plays from EDG. Started off with a tower dive. That was great. That was amazing. And then it was nothing. Very, very quickly. The distinction that we had talked about between Pantheon and the rest of the squad, I don't think was a compositionally impossible thing to overcome, but it didn't look overcomeable. Xiaohao committed to a couple of fights that EDG were unable to do anything about. I don't think that's his fault. I don't think it's theirs. And I'm honestly, Bloxer, as much as I'm somebody who is here to talk about the game, I don't know what to say about that game for EDG, because NIP ran that.
They have. I mean, if you've been avoiding watching bad games, if you haven't been watching too many EDG matchups, maybe you don't know that this is kind of how this entire split went for them. This is what we had been kind of expecting coming on out. I think Leave getting caught multiple times is so indicative of the way that his career has gone. When this guy is able to space correctly, he's so good. You saw it in a couple of these team fights. Big damage on the Ezreal, super accurate, hitting basically all of the Qs that he needed to, running people down. But he just gets too aggressive. He turns his brain off. He'll, between team fights, wander through a choke point, get himself caught out in team fights, not recognize the fact that, hey, stepping up within range of a Gnar or a Cho'Gath is going to get me killed. And even on the Ezreal, the mobile Ezreal, still not able to keep himself out of harm's way. It was a better look in a lot of ways out of EDG. Their individual lanes don't super fall behind, right? Bulldog gets rough, but that's kind of what you expect out of this matchup. ZDZ's winning, he's up by a lot of CS, but they don't turn that into anything. They don't pay that forwards into these team fights. Part of it is just so many issues when they come to team fighting. Out of lane, better. Team fighting still bad. I mean, it's not really a recipe for success.
There are a lot of ways that I want to talk about this game that are like, you know, because I was expecting a lot from EDG, even in game 1, I want to go, this is what you could have done better, this is what you could have done better, this is what you could have done better. And I don't know that it matters. Coming out of that game, game 2 is obviously the most important thing now for EDG, but I also think that this was just very good play from NIP. The amount of times that we were talking about how impactful Care was, his positioning on the Cassiopeia, the amount of times that we were talking about Photic's arrows that completely turned a mid game that was otherwise pretty good for NIP into really great for NIP, giving them a lot of opportunity throughout the map. Hoya lost, but controlled. Guwon on Cho'Gath to me was not the hero. Guwon on Cho'Gath was there, but everything else around this Cho'Gath worked really, really well, with the exception of some Seraphine encores that, as you mentioned, could have hit a little harder.
Fengyue, I'm not going to give him the free pass through this game. I think he made a couple of pretty bad errors with his ultis, and with it being such a big teamfight ulti, this game could have ended a heck of a lot faster if he was actually able to hit those. We can see it right here with the damage dealt, right? Leaf was hitting like a truck when he was hitting, but the fact he gets caught out a couple of times, imagine if those teamfights that we saw where he died first or was running away from the very beginning, if he was actually able to sit and hit throughout them, this could have been a totally different game once again. I mean, just overall, more damage coming through from a lot of the members over on EDG side, and they're just not able to keep themselves safe enough. I agree, Guwon doing his job exactly as we would have wanted. I think Care was really impressive to me in this one. Photic too, with those arrows like you said, but I mean, this is left field. This is not actually who's going to win game MVP, but I love what Hoya did in this game. He lost gracefully. The one mistake he makes is getting baited in by that arrow landing when he wasn't expecting it, when it wasn't actually shot at his top laner, and thinking he could go for a fight in a situation in which he actually couldn't. That was pretty interesting to see, but you can see right here, another one of these arrows. This one actually works out and helps out the squad.
Yeah, I am on board with you in terms of, shouting out a player that did really well, that didn't have to, and ultimately was, positioned well, making minimal errors. Photic's player of the game, and everybody knows it. This is, in my opinion, the LPL broadcast can do what they want, but
they're going to give it
to Photic. Yeah.
Every day of the week. I mean, the KDA was beautiful, the arrows were nice, he was playing really well, he wasn't getting himself caught out in random situations. When he did get caught out, he was able to flash back away over the wall that Bulldog had laid down. Photic is absolutely going to grab MVP, but yeah. A little shout out to Hoya, shout out to Care as well for doing their things, and congratulations to Photic on what will be the game MVP coming through.
And hey, congratulations to Guwon as well. Like we said, Cho'Gath might not have been the focal point of this game. It could have been, in my opinion, a lot of other champions, but
I like that it was the Cho'Gath here. I think the silence was really, really fun, right? In this composition, you don't necessarily expect the silence to be that big, right? Who's actually going to be stepping up to you close enough? But he was doing a really good job of hiding in brushes, finding flanks, and getting into the backline, silencing people up, and then the whole team was able to capitalize on that really effectively. The ruptures coming through as well, and just, he was massive. That's the thing. In these team fights, as much as EDG had a ton of poke, if you're pumping all of it into Guwon, he doesn't care. He's going to be able to heal himself back up, and yeah, you can see it multiple times through right here. I mean, it's just kind of miserable to watch for EDG. Every time you think something's going well for them, like this is pretty sexy out of ZDZ. He had himself a couple of nice moments right here. It just doesn't matter. This is way too late for it to be able to pull back for the team.
Yeah, the top lane Varus was, as we said, the one thing that was going really, really well. We mentioned the CS lead earlier, and EDG really unable to leverage that. I don't even think that's a play difference. I think it doesn't make sense to be able to invest in your Varus when he's already winning, when the rest of the map needs to be taken care of. But I think it's gonna leave ZDZ feeling a little tilted after that game. And what I'm hoping is that doesn't affect the other solo lanes, because the other solo laner that I am almost avoiding talking about, even as his agent, is Bulldog. I said pretty early on that Bulldog had the opportunity to hard carry this game. Having seen how NIP played, I don't think that's true. I don't think that Bulldog could have hard carried the game, having, what is it called? Post vision, whatever that's called. Flashback. Hindsight, thank you. Being 2020. I'm getting old. Hindsight being 2020. I don't think he could have. It could have been a lot better, though. And I think that Bulldog is going to feel like he could have done a lot more. So I'm hoping that he, in the face of this dominant performance from Photic and the rest of NIP, is able to keep it together, because this is a best of 5.
Yes, it is. We've got a lot more games to be able to play out. Hey, as we've been talking about, right, these Group Nirvana squads really don't get a lot of games. These 5 games, if it goes to all 5, it would be a significant portion of just the matches that they got to play throughout this split. Obviously, for NIP, they're hoping for a quick 3-0, get themselves into the playoffs, start thinking about the teams ahead of them. A dominant performance for them in game number 1. pretty split actually in terms of who voted for what. I love that the casters both went for Guwon in this game. That's really interesting. I think we're a little bit surprised that anybody actually didn't vote for Photic. We know how the LPL likes to vote, and that was exactly the side of sort of catnip for them for MVP votes.
Yeah, everybody's getting baited by the Cho'Gath pick. It's, you know, it's exciting. I'm happy he played it as well, but was it an MVP performance? I don't think so. If you think so, let us know. Let us know what we were missing. Maybe there's some Cho'Gath micro that just went crazy, but I saw those arrows and Photic looking pretty good.